Are you a golfer who struggles to get into your lead side at impact? If you ever watch the world's best players, you can see how they're always at impact, their left leg is straightening out and they're covering the golf ball. Your amateur golfers struggle to achieve this position. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to improve this. To get started, we need to understand what's happening in the golf swing for us to actually get into that lead side. Here I'm using a downshift board. This helps us understand how we move pressure between the trail leg and the lead leg, in my case, right and left. What we're looking for into that lead leg is we're trying to get pressure into that lead side early in the downswing. So what we often see is amateur golfers start to move into their lead side too late. So by the time their arms and hands are already halfway down, we've not fully got into that lead side. Often golf coaches will talk about this as feeling like everything starts at the same time in the top of the backswing. Whereas we want to feel that pressure moving earlier, and that gives us more time and space with the lower body and the core to rotate open first to give the hands and the arms more opportunity to get through the ball. So as you can see when I'm using this downshift board, I'm pushing into that lead side early. So I'm getting a pressure shift from my trail leg into my lead leg. In this particular video, I'm going to show how we can use the downshift board in a different way to get more pressure and a more exaggerated feel of how we can push into that lead foot. So if I set the pressure shift board more in a vertical way and put my left heel on the board, as I go into the top of the backswing, I want to feel like my left heel, my lead heel, comes off the board. So this, you see how now that board is raised off the floor. And if I want to feel that pressure move into my lead side, I'm going to have to stamp the board down. So I'll actually hear it pushing to the ground. You can see that motion where I'm at the top of my backswing and I'm keeping my hands and arms back, but pushing and snapping the board down. So this is going to give the feeling of when pressure and the shift needs to happen, and also how much force we are able to actually create doing this movement, which is then going to give us more speed at impact and a more freedom and turn through the hitting zone. So we can practice this drill with the pressure shift board by really snapping, and then we're going to try and hit that and coordinate. So to start with, we probably want to feel this in slower motion. So slow, snap, and try and hit. And that's obviously going to take quite a bit to coordinate, but that's how we're going to try and practice. Now for me, anytime I'm teaching someone to do ground reaction force drills and feelings, it's all about the quality of the rehearsal. If we don't rehearse with the right quality and the right intent, you can almost forget about doing it in the golf swing. So it's about less balls and more rehearsals. So I really want to see lots of snap. You see how I'm really pushing hard and I'm pushing early. So I'm almost feeling as I'm going back, my mental awareness is like, as I'm taking the club back, almost halfway back, I want to be starting to already feel that snap, because that pressure shift has to happen early in order for us to achieve what we want to achieve. And then we've got to try and put that into the swing a little bit faster. And although it will feel very uncoordinated and not actually how you want to swing the club as such, it's giving you an idea of that awareness of how much pressure and how early we need to move. Now as we take the board away, we're going to try and create that same feeling. Because it's not going to be quite as good a feedback, we've got to try and really get that same rehearsal. So you see how I'm snapping that early. Now what you might find is, a lot of you probably don't fully lift that lead heel off the ground, so that will feel strange. So now you can just be a little bit more subtle and feel that. You see how I'm still pushing, but not getting loads of heel movement. And that's me feeling like I'm getting into that lead side earlier and clearing earlier. And the good thing about this is what you'll start to notice, and if you don't do this naturally very well in your swing, you might feel a little bit off balance. You might feel like it's quite hard to maintain your follow through because you're having to really post more on that lead side. Whereas before you might be someone who slides into it and hangs back, or that feeling of early extending and pushing forward and trying to wrap around late. So it's going to give you a different coordination, different feel, but that's what we need to do to be able to really overpower the movement and exaggerate the movement that we're looking for. So that straight away, I've pieced that all together. I've gone into more of the rhythm that I would do normally in my golf swing. I've created more of the leg movement that I'd normally do, but I've taken that feeling of the drill and pieced that together where my awareness now is like, okay, now I understand how early I can pressure shift. Now we're going to put those into some additional drills on body movement and something you can do in the gym. And as we practice these three elements all together, that's over time is going to give you greater opportunity to put this into your golf swing more consistently. With this particular exercise, I want you to integrate this into your gym program. If it's practical, use the board, but again, if it's not, still create that same feeling. You're going to take a medicine ball, something that does bounce, and we're going to go into this golf posture setup. As we're looking to really get that sequence, but now with maximal power, so this is actually also going to improve your power output. So this is why this is going to very much a physical exercise, not just a drill. We're going to place the right hand on top, left hand underneath for a right-handed golfer. We're going to just turn naturally with that lead heel coming off, and we're going to try and keep the ball quite close to the body. We're not trying to get out wide and create width. In slow motion, we're then obviously going to create that transition where we push down, and then we unwind and push with the right hand on top. So we essentially create a bounce motion. You see how I've pushed out the ground and then pushed into it. When we do that with maximal power, we should get the ball to bounce up and back. So that feeling of good winding, good turning, we get the lead heel off because we're elevating, we push and we drive. We want to get that max power output. You see I'm really driving out the ground and pushing hard with my upper body. With this particular drill, I want you to focus on this as more of a body motion, something where you're trying to understand and create better feeling of the pattern that we're talking about, but not see it as an actual gym exercise, because we're not improving any physical capacity here, we're more improving the awareness of the movement. Now we can't do this using a golf club, and it's not practically very easy to set up, but at the same time I wouldn't expect you to do this in a gym. So however you integrate this into your practice, see it more of a drill, less of an exercise. All you're going to do is take two pretty strong resistance bands, so there's a little bit of stretch there, and stand in between them, placing it around your lead hip. So using the downshift board, you don't always have to use the board for this to get the same feeling, but obviously that's going to give that great awareness, is if I put my arms across my chest, I've got enough tension on the band at this point where I'm stretching it, and when I turn, there's still some tension, but not loads. You can see how when I turn, my lead heel comes up, and I'm going to do that exact same movement when I push and try and create that resistance. Because the resistance band is then obviously pulling me backwards, that's giving me the awareness of what is required to create that lead side push in the direction that we've talked about and overcome the stretch. So we know exactly where we need to generate our force and where the stretch is coming from. So done as a full motion, we should see it like this. Let me know how you get on with the drills and exercises, but if you want to understand more about pressure shift, watch this video next.